what's up guys, the Insane Game Freak here. A lot of people were like, yo, you need to do a live reaction of chapter 730 when you read it on Viz Manga. I'm glad people respect that shit now and don't just send me the damn chapter like assholes like they used to do. But anyways, chapter 730, I'm going to tell you two reasons why I didn't do a live reaction. First off, for those who don't realize, when the chapters come out on VizManga.com on Mondays, they come out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me, Eastern Standard Time, which is when I'm usually at work. So what I had to do is I had to bullshit around and like sneak reading the chapter on my phone. So it's like I'm not at home most of the time. And I wasn't at home. Second of all, I didn't get spoiled on the chapter completely, but I kept hearing the word Big Mom around. And I was just kind of like, yeah, that's probably going to nerf the shock value, which is why I'm not bothering with it. I'm also drinking water and Coca-Cola because I don't give a fuck. You know how long it's been since I've seen polar bears on this bitch? It only comes back in December. That's how I know it's Christmas time. Hold on a second. Anyway, this is probably going to be a long video. I'm trying to be analytical as fuck because shit has gotten kind of ridiculous in a positive/negative way. But let me explain what I mean. So I'm going to kind of, I'm not going to really, review the chapter in the sense of telling you everything about the chapter. I want to cover some key things. First thing, and this is the thing that made me which brought up the whole negative side of this. And Glory Cross, I saw a few of his comments on some of the chapter reviews I was looking at. There are way too many fucking plot points I've noticed right now. And that, One Piece has always had a lot of plot points ever since probably around CP9, Thriller Bark. The plot points have been kind of stacking on each other. But with this whole inclusion of Big Mom and everything into the like shit now, right now, like shit going on right now has kind of made it blatantly obvious. And the first question I had at the beginning of the chapter was, why is Law not dead? Because I was like, One Piece is like older logic, okay, fine. But Law not dying in that particular situation, you got to explain that, Oda. Like, it's not like Pell, where I could kind of let it go because it wasn't that big of a deal. But fucking Law, you got to explain why he's not dead, why Law hasn't killed him yet, because he's had 2 times to kill him. He doesn't need Law to get Caesar back. Why take him with you? Why not kill him? What purpose do you have for Law, Don Flamingo? That is the overarching question I have. Because it doesn't make really any sense. It's like, y'all haven't been together for 10 years, from what I understand. But even when he comes back to bite you in the ass, you just beat the shit out of him and shoot him, but you don't kill him? Like, there's got to be something more to that. Also, why the fuck does he need Fujitori's help to kill the Straw Hats? Because he says to Fujitori, he's like, what was it? He said, work with me and we can get all their heads. And I'm like, Don Flamingo, don't act like you ain't stronger than almost everybody fucking here. If you wanted to, you could kill Zoro and Kinemon by yourself. Don't act like you can't. Like, I think at this point we've admitted, everyone admits it, Don Flamingo and Fujitora are like the strongest characters in this arc right now. Like, nobody, I don't even think, if you gave me Law and Luffy together at full strength fighting Don Flamingo, they have a chance. But in this particular situation where you have Zoro, Kinemon, and Luffy who can't even get out the damn Coliseum right now, you're kind of just sitting there going, yeah, this is not going to work. And what made that more evident is when Zoro tried to attack Fujitora, that didn't accomplish anything. We know Sanji can't take Don Flamingo by himself. And we don't really know how strong Kinemon is. Like, that's the one thing I've noticed, that Kinemon's strength hasn't really been fully gauged. We don't know, like, in terms of the Straw Hat crew, where would you place him? Because my mind would think he's somewhere around Zoro or Sanji's level. But maybe I'm being too generous, I'm not sure. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, now Luffy's all focused on getting Trafalgar Law back, but now we're like, wait a minute, you have a tournament and this plot line with Rebecca, and this thing with Bellamy, and this thing with Jesus. So I'm like, you can't just drop that Oda like that. Especially because you obviously haven't forgotten about it because you put it in the ending shot. So my mind's like, okay, if Luffy ditches, which I don't think he's going to be able to, and I know see, it wouldn't make sense even then because it's like you're telling me Luffy, Zoro, and Kinemon are going to fight fucking Don Flamingo and Fujitora, and that's if he doesn't have any of the henchmen around. No, it's not gonna work. Like we just saw from that little clash between Zoro and Fujitora that's not gonna work. So I don't think they may think that's what's about to happen, but that's probably not what's gonna happen. Luffy's gonna get sidetracked with this whole tournament thing. He's gonna have to, at the very least, finish some section of it because he can't just ditch it now. Either that, or you know how Luffy has that one-track mind, so there might be a section where he's saying that now, but he might go, like, oh fuck, I forgot about the fire fruit. Unless he's like, Rebecca, can you get the double fruit for me? I need to go get Don Flamingo's ass. Because if that works, I mean that could work, but that means she would have to beat Jesus, and I don't think she can beat Jesus. I don't even think Cavendish can beat Jesus. I think Jesus is gonna get that fruit. Like if Luffy leaves, Jesus is getting that fruit. Like that's the way I view it. And then we have the Frankie, Rob, and Usopp situation, which this pretty much confirms they're going to have a fight. Because we already know there are people guarding the Smile Factory. And Diamante's by himself in the damn Coliseum. Like, the other two dudes have left to protect the factory. So we know that if the Tonto roll with Usopp and Frankie and Robin, they gonna run up on the motherfuckers who are guarding the factory, and that's when I'm looking forward to that fight. I think if any fight right now, that's like one of the main fights I'm looking forward to. Because I'm like, yo, if we get that full fight and Frankie goes out with them fists, fuck General Frankie, but just goes in like a motherfucking G, I'm done. But I'll say he can't use General Frankie. I just realized that the Sunny's gone, so he can't use General Frankie. So if he goes in. Ooh, boy, I'm looking forward to that. I haven't seen a fist fight Frankie in so long. I'm so ready. My body is ready. And then we have Sanji's situation. And also, this brings up another question. We still technically don't know how the fuck Don Flamingo was able to bullshit out of pretending not to be a warlord for a day. And people kind of forgot because it's like, we got the explanation of Don Flamingo's history, but we don't understand the logistics, because like, if you don't consider yourself a Tenryubito, even though technically that's what your class would be because you rejected that part of your lineage, that means you're starting off from scratch. Meaning you became as powerful as you are through just sheer force of will without any family connections. Meaning, what the fuck did you do to get to the power that you're at now, that you can bullshit the entire world about not being a warlord for a day? People, I don't think people realize that hasn't been answered yet. We still don't know how the fuck he did that, which probably has something to do with CP0, and we need a Don Flamingo flashback. That's what we need, because we still don't know how he came into power, like as well as he has, and what his own mindset is regarding being the Pirate King and all that other shit. But going into the Big Mom situation, I am now more curious about Caesar Clown's past, because the way this works, that means whatever happened on Punk Hazard when he fucked up, well, he didn't really fuck up, but when he fucked over the people, that means that at one point in time there has to either be a gap in between when he met Don Flamingo and when he and when he blew up the lab, that he had some interaction with Big Mom. But no, that still wouldn't make sense, because if he robbed Big Mom at one point in time, he couldn't have done this while he was working for the Marines. So it had to be in that period, and I forget the time period. I think it's like, what, 5 years or something? In between when he blew up the lab and when he started working for Don Flamingo. We don't know when he started working for Don Flamingo and Kaido and shit. We just know that at one point that happened. So I'm like, Caesar, what were you supposed to be doing for Big Mom? Because for Big Mom does not seem like the type to just randomly hire people. So I'm like, what did you do what were you supposed to be doing for Big Mom that Big Mom wanted from you? Because at this point, I don't think she wants to. I mean, yeah, she wants to take care of Caesar, but is that more for personal vendetta? Because she didn't know where Caesar was until the whole broadcast thing on Punk Hazard? Or did she want to do it now because she realizes Kaido's going to be off his fucking game? Because if you kill Caesar, the game is over. So, and I guess to go into theories regarding how the whole, you know, Sanji, Nami, Brook, Chopper, Mononosuke, Caesar situation is going to pan out, is that my logic will say is that they will fight them off long enough to either get to Zao or something's going to happen in the current of the New World Ocean to benefit them. I can also see Kid, Hawkins, and Apu saving them, because the only other thing I can think of is that they actually get to Zou and they run into Law's crew, and Law's like, oh, and I guess, and I'm assuming Law has told them beforehand that they're partnering with Straw Hats. Then that could work, but I don't. That's another thing I don't understand. Is Law's crew strong enough to be considered like hardcore, like new world pirates? Because Beppo and the dude and the slave he rescued are like the only two powerhouses I remember. The other two dudes don't seem strong. Now if they are, fuck me. But I'm just saying. Also, I need to see a Kung Fu Chopper Point and Beppo team up. That has to happen to me. That to me, I will fanboy like a bitch. No bull. I will fanboy like a bitch over that. Oh god. But it kind of gets to my whole point about this chapter. This chapter kind of just reiterates one thing. Either if Dressrosa in itself ends too soon, then we're gonna I'm gonna be pissed off, because that means there's gonna be plot points that don't get addressed. There's no way this arc has to drag in order for us to get everything. And I know people don't want it to drag, but here's my thing. If each chapter is like this, where we're constantly getting information and shit I want to learn about, I don't care if it drags, because One Piece has never been a fast-paced anime or manga. Like, that's just how it's been, and that's why I enjoy it so much. It takes its time, and we get to learn things, the shit gets expanded upon, and I get really, really fucking invested. So I have no problem if it does that. But if Dressrosa has to, I need Dressrosa to last for at least another 30, 40 chapters, depending on what they do in those chapters. Because we know, in our current situation, the tournament shit has to be resolved in some way. Whether Luffy handles it, or Jesus just gets the double fruit, or what, that has to be handled. Then we gotta figure out the whole backstory of Trafalgar Law and Don Flamingo and his reasonings and his way of coming up into power and all this other shit. Then we got the fights with Frankie, Robin, Usopp, and the Tontos and the toys. We still don't even know how the toy situation works in Dressrosa. We just know that there's a hypnotist. We know there are ways to turn them into toys, but we don't understand how they're just mind-wiping people instantaneously and shit. There's a lot of things we need to know. Dressrosa arc, and for those who don't realize, Dressrosa is only 30 chapters. Now to compare that, Fishman Island was like 50. So that means either the next 20 chapters we better start getting a lot of exposition, or this arc is going to go on for a little bit longer than that. It's going to go on longer than that. And I don't mind, because this is going to, honestly, this is, to me, Fishman Island started off with what I like to call the Alabasta effect. Meaning, I'm going to include Fishman Island, well, at least the end of Fishman Island, to Punk Hazard, to Dressrosa, which will probably go into Zao, which will probably go into Wano, and will eventually lead you to either Kaido's Island and or Big Mom's Island, depending on how the story progresses. Which is another thing we don't know. What the fuck do the samurai have to do with this? Because it's like, okay, Mononosuke, but it's also Kinemon and Kanjuro. What's that situation about? What's up with the samurai Wano? Why all of a sudden is Don Flamingo like, I need to get my hands on Wano samurai? Unless you're just trying to build an army of your own to fight Kaido. Because if he's trying to be Pirate King, he realizes eventually he's going to have to take out Kaido, the guy he works for. So there has to be some overarching plan he has to do this shit too. So there's a lot of shit going on. The chapter was cool as fuck. It's one of those chapters that was cool as fuck, but we didn't really get that much fighting, and I'm okay with that. I'm just saying this arc unless Oda drags it out and keeps it interesting, it might turn into a section in which some shit will happen and we won't get a full explanation. Do I think Doflamingo's gonna be beating this arc? No. It's not gonna work, because even if Luffy and Zoro and Kinemon go in there and save Trafalgar Law will not be in the position to fight. So unless Frankie and Robin and Usopp and the Tontos and the Toys can handle all that shit in the course quick enough and then still be at good enough strength to fight Doflamingo, which I still don't think is going to work. I don't think Doflamingo is going to be beating this arc. Doflamingo is probably going to carry over for like the next 3 arcs, probably. Because it won't work that way. It won't. Unless you're getting Kid, Hawkins, and Apu and Drake involved. People keep forgetting about Drake, which we now know from the cover story he's fine and nothing's wrong with him. We got shit to do. There's a lot of shit. This whole Emperor shit is going to last at least for the next 3 years. Probably, I'm betting 3 or 4 years. Why? Because there's too much shit to cover. They're probably, by the end of this year, we might understand the basis of Dressrosa. We don't even understand the basis yet. And we're 30 chapters in. But that's my thoughts. So please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. This has been the Insane Game Freak. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out. And I don't know Blue's voice actor's name, but I recognize him. If you're watching the Magi dub, he's the